Hi guys and welcome. Today we're going to make this beautiful journal tag pocket. So I'll just give you a quick look at this prototype. So we've got a couple of tags tied together at the front. It's just purely decoration, as you can see. And then we've got a pocket on the front of the tag. And in that pocket we've got this beautiful little journal that has a tuck pocket in there, and then we've got some coffee dyed paper for some journaling space. And then inside the tag itself we've got another journal, so we've got it tied together by some seam binding that has been stamped, and I'll show you how to do that. Or you can have some sari silk, lace, twine, however you want to tie those together. And then we've just got some more coffee dyed paper. So we've done 3 pages, which gives you 6 pages folded, or 12 journaling pages. And of course, if you want to, you can put some more pockets in there. I just didn't want to make it too bulky. And then I've used craft cardstock for the front here, and then we've just done some stamping, so we're going to go through that as well. And then that just tucks in there like that. And the back, I've got nothing on the back. All right, so I'm going to give you measurements, but I also will put them down in the description, so don't be too concerned about trying to write them down as we go along. So we'll start with the actual tag pocket itself. So the cardstock you'll want at 10 1/4 across that way, and then 7 3/4 down that way. And then we want to, when we score it, we want to score it at 5 2/16, and then we turn it around and we score it at 5 2/16. It just gives you that fine little spine, just because we're putting a little bit of bulk inside the tag. And then with all my tags, what I do, I get a scrap bit of paper the same width of the tag I'm wishing to cut. I fold it in half and then I snip the corner off, and then that gives me a template that I can simply put on my project like that, to make sure I get an even sides on both sides. It's just, for me, it's way easier than them cutting one side, picking up the piece and laying it down, but you can also do that as well. So that's our pocket there. I'm going to give it a quick ink, and I'm doing it in ground espresso. I like the dark chocolatey tone of the ground espresso, and it depends on what sort of coloured cardstock you're using as to what distress ink you want to use. And of course, you don't have to ink at all if that's your preference, because not everybody likes to distress their projects. Lovely. Now the only place we glue is along the bottom here, which I will do now, because we're going to put an eyelet up the top. And I'm using art glitter glue. It dries pretty well straight away. So the reason I'm doing a tab and an eyelet up the top, I just want to leave that extra, rather than gluing it down there, just that extra if needed to get your journal in and out. You shouldn't need it, but it's better than having a really tight fit. And with the top, I'll just pull this other one over to show you. I wanted a tag type effect, but I didn't want too much bulk. So I've just got a scrap bit of craft cardstock here. Just fold it over, just to sort of get the depth that you're after. And then cutting it off. I don't know whether I've got a template. Oh, I do. whenever I make templates, I like to keep them because you just never know when you're going to need them. And this is a 2-inch width across there. Actually, I want to do that up the other way, so I'm going to grab another bit of craft cardstock. So what I've done is I've cut it the wrong way. I wanted to cut it that way on the fold, because if I pull that one across again, I want that effect, whereas that one's given me that effect, which I don't want. I want it to stay in unison with the rest of the tag. So we'll grab another scrap and just eyeballing, it's 2 inches across there anyway, but just eyeballing across there. So I don't want to go up to the fold, I want to go away from the fold. Which is this way. So with your mouth open that way. And that gives you your tag. Tag like that. So we're going to ink that, and then I'm going to put an eyelet in it, and then that'll be the tag pocket finished. We'll put a pocket on the front. And you sort of eyeball it to get it in the middle. I might put a bit of glue on it just to hold it in place, not too much. I'm getting into the habit of putting my pin back in my glue because I've had a bad habit lately of forgetting to do that, and it makes the gluing a little bit more difficult. Now we're going to do an eyelet. So I don't want the eyelet too far down there because you're restricting your pocket space. So just up towards the top. And roughly again, just eyeballing the center. And then if I just grab an eyelet, and securing that down like that. Now we're going to get our pocket. So you just grab a piece of cardstock, contrasting color or whatever. I'm going plain because I've got a pattern here. The measurements for this one is 5 inches across by 3 1/4 down, and we're going to put a notch in it. So I'm just going to eyeball the center again. And then we're going to give it an ink. And you could stamp some images on that if you wanted to. I'm not going to because we've got the tag feature that we're doing on that. Now to do that, the tags that we have on the front here, they are 2 inches, and then the length we only want it to wrap around a little bit. So I'm just going to grab another piece that's 2 inches wide. And I'm going to double check it. So that scraps a little bit over. So I'm just going to cut that down, and then we might just cut it in half. So it's 8 1/4. If we just go 4, so 2 by 4 for them, and we may not need the whole 4 inches. It depends on how much you want to have wrapped around there, because you want to do your tags, which I'll cut the tag tops first. You can see how handy the template, how much you use it once you've got it. And I usually write template 2 inches, and all it means is it's 2 inches across. So it doesn't matter how long, you just use it just do it up out of your scraps. Now I'm going to punch the hole in them together so we get it pretty well much even, and just eyeballing. And with these, we want the point of the tag to line up with the point. So if I show you, actually I might ink the tag so you can see the definition a little bit better. I love the ground espresso on craft. It just gives it a real suede look. Okay, awesome. So that point there, you line it up with the point of your punched out there is probably the easiest way to explain it. Same with that one. You can go a little bit out. And then you fold it over. And then you get your other one, just so they're even. And a similar fold. See that? Now we just hold one in place, and we glue the back of it. Actually, I should do the eyelets first. Just got to find what I did with my antique bronze eyelets. There they are. Excuse me, I'm just getting over a really bad virus. I've been in bed for the last 3 or 4 days. My husband come down with it first, and then myself 2 days later, and then now one of my sons have got it as well. So it's just one of those change of season things. Okay, so we've done the eyelets. Now we line them up. You can take one away. Just hold your thumb on that one, because we want to glue this one in place. We're only gluing the part at the back, because the front we want to just leave as a flap that we just decoratively tie together. And then this one we just line up so they look uniform. Hold our thumb, oh, that might have moved a bit. Hold our thumb on that one and then glue the back. And once again, if you wanted to, you could do some stamping on this, because we've got it against a fairly plain background. However, I didn't want to, because I'm featuring the tag ends. So if you want to, you can just tone the bulk down a little bit just with your bone folder. Or some people call it a paper creaser. And we'll glue this down. So rule of thumb, I put my thumb on the side I don't want to glue. It just helps me remember, because I've had some disasters in the past. When you're doing a video like this and you're doing, thinking and talking at the same time, it becomes quite a difficult combination sometimes. Now my measurements, as you can see, I come just in from the edge. If you didn't want to do that, then you could make that 5 inches just a little bit more. It'd be more like 5 1/4. I actually like the border. Plus it helps, see how the fold goes right to the edge? So it's not hanging over, would be another reason. All right, so that's our tag pocket done. Now let's do the journals. We might do the small one first. So let's grab, so I'm using craft cardstock here, and the measurements are 8 by 6 and it's scored at 4 inches. Okay, I'm just going to give that a quick ink. Now I'm not stamping this one. We're actually going to put some ephemera on the front. I'll just fold that a little bit better. Use my... It actually might be slightly off with the cut, so I'm just going to trim that with my scissors. And ink both sides, because this is a little pull-out journal or notebook. You will see both sides. And we want to corner around it. I always like to corner around things if you're pulling them in and out of something, because otherwise your edges get a little bit weathered or worn. That's that one. And your inside paper, you see coffee dyed paper, the inserts are 7.5 inches by 5 3/4. I've done 3 pages, so that gives you six pages or 12 journaling pages. And then just fold them in half. Don't have to be perfect, because it is a junk journal, but I like things as close as you can get them without being overly pedantic. And then I will round the corners off as well. Corner rounder seems to handle 6 pages okay. Okay, so we're going to stitch that one together. Just put a pin in my glue. And we're going to use a 3-hole pamphlet stitch, which is probably one of the easiest ones. Well, it's the one I use the most, and I find it's probably one of the easiest ones. And with small journals like this, there's no need to have any more. So this is just some waxed cotton. It's really, really strong cotton, but you can use any sort of twine. You could use normal cotton too, because there's not going to be a lot of pressure on it where you need something overly strong. And this is just like a bookbinder's needle. It's got a fairly blunt, and if you don't have one of those, use a normal needle. I've used a beading needle in the past, which is a very long, flimsy thing. It was a bit of a torturous exercise because I couldn't find my bookbinding needles on that day, but we got there in the end. So what I do is I line it up, so you want a bit of a border top and bottom and fairly even. I'll then get a bulldog clip just to hold that in place, like that. And then I get an awl or a pokey tool, something sharp that you can pierce a hole in the middle. So I'm going to go the middle first, straight through like that. And then I'm going to pick the middle between the hole and the top of the page. And then down the bottom here too, the same again, I'm going to pick the middle. Now if you were to measure that, look, it may not be exact, but if you eyeball it like that, it looks not too bad at all. So once again, it doesn't have to be perfect. So I'm going to go out through the middle hole, and I like to hold my thumb on the tail so I don't pull it through, and then in through the top one, and just pull your cord firmly, then down through the middle, and then up through the bottom. Just make sure they're pulled firmly on the outside, and then I tie a knot. I will double knot it for extra security. Not that I've ever had one come undone. And then I just cut that off. And that's our little journal put together. All right, so let's decorate the front of this one. So you'll notice on this one here, I had these beautiful postcards that were sent to me in a happy mail, and they were from Darkroom Door, and then I've made a pocket to the side. Now I didn't have one to go with this paper, so what I'm going to do, and you probably wouldn't have those anyway, so what we're going to do today is we're going to throw a little bit of a cluster collage on the front there, just to show you that there's plenty of different variations in what you can do. You can decorate the front of these however you like. You might want to just stamp this one like we're going to do the big one on the inside too. Entirely up to you. You might want to use stickers, die cuts. So this one here I'm also going to make into a pocket, so I do want to notch it out on one side and just eyeballing it. Now I'm only going to make a fairly thin notch because we are going to put some ephemera on there, and I don't want to take up too much space, but I just wanted to notch it. It reminds you that it is a pocket, that you can put some stuff in there. You might even just want to fold up some more coffee dyed paper and put in there for extra journaling. So we're going to glue that one on. My thumb's on the side that I don't want to glue. And I want to push it over to the side a little bit, but not too much where it looks out of place. but enough because, you know, we are featuring a pocket there as well. And then just get some ephemera. I've picked out this beautiful daisy ephemera. Now this is off a digital download that I purchased. I'll try and find the name to it and put the link below for you guys, because it is an absolutely beautiful pack. And you could put labels or anything with this. Now I may have to notch it out slightly. Just in keeping with that, yes. And then we're going to glue it down. So, I mean, you could also make it into another pocket. I'm not going to. And then just as a contrast, I might do the edge of that a little bit darker. Just a piece of ephemera. Like I said, you could do a tag, a label. You could even leave it like that and have a word down the bottom or some numbers across the bottom. I just wanted something fairly that didn't stand out, because I didn't want to take it away from the beautiful daisies. And then I just off-center it a little bit. And once again, you could have that as a little pocket, but I'm not going to on this occasion. Okay, so that's our little journal book for the front cover. Like that, beautiful. Now let's make the inside one. So there's a bit of stamping on this one. You can use any stamps you like. I actually just recently purchased, I think I got it off, pretty sure it was Amazon. And it's, look how big it is. It's massive. When I first got it, I thought, oh, that's too big. But when I realized that it's nice to have a bit of variety in your stash as well. And then when I measured it out, this postcard stamp, as big as it is, and I'll show you in a minute, it fitted perfectly across the band that I wanted it to. So it turned out that I am going to use it. So first impressions, I guess. All right, so this is the outside cover, and once again, it's 9.5 by 6 1/4, and it's scored at 4 3/4. We're going to stamp it first, and then we're going to do the inside coffee dyed paper. But the coffee dyed paper is 9 1/4 by 6. So you basically take your cover measurements down by 1/4 of an inch. All right, so on the outside, there's no rhyme or reason. I'll show you my other one. I just randomly stamped, as you can see. So if you get some postage stamps or ticket stamps, whatever you got, even if you use flowers or butterflies, entirely up to you. And then just randomly just get a bit of scratch paper for because I like to stamp off a page as well. And I'm not worrying because we know we're going to have a band across that. I'm not even thinking about where the band goes. I just want to stamp as if we were doing a whole collage page and it was just going to be that. And you can turn them around different ways. And then we've got one with the like the postmarks, which is just your lines. It sort of like fills it in a little bit more. Now, it didn't stamp quite well there, so I'm just think I might throw one of these darker stamps over the top. Lovely. Normally, I don't care too much if something is not perfect or it doesn't stamp that well, but given that it's on a front cover of something, I do tend to try and, you know, fix it up where we can. Might do one more across the middle there. All right, so let's have a look at our band. So our band measures, where is it? It was 11 by 2. So 11 by 2. And then we'll fold it in half. Double check it on our cover. Yep, so we only want a little bit hanging out the edge there. If we get our tag template, and while we got them together like that, actually there's a ratty edge there. While we got them together like that, we'll punch the hole because they're going to be tied together. We want them to line up. Excuse my coughing. And then we're going to ink that. I started to ink then with the black archival, but we'll blend it in. Once you've got everything cut out and pre-scored, it's relatively a quick project. Now this front piece, that's where we're going to stamp that big, so if you have a look how big it is, it, you know, you could put it down the side of a journal. However, you could have it on a belly band, which effectively that's what this is. Well, it's a band anyway, it's not a belly band. And then you got to be mindful of your eyelet here, so you don't want it over too far, but you do want to make sure that the whole word hard to line up when I can't get my head across. I hope my head didn't go in the shot there. The last thing you want to be looking at is the top of someone's head. It's not overly straight, but that won't matter. It's a beautiful stamp. Now we'll just throw our eyelets in here. I would say that the crocodile would have to be one of my most favourite and most used craft tools. So if you don't have one, guys, it's probably the best investment that you could ever do. If you do, or if you plan to do a lot of eyelets, which we tend to put them in everything these days in our journals, because it's got this built-in mechanism that you really don't need much strength at all. So it's good for those of us that have been crafting for a while, where, you know, we've got a little bit of carpet tunnel, or we've got you know, just some arthritis setting in. I'm just re-straightening my fold there. And we want to corner around, and then we want to ink the cover. And before I put that band on, I actually want to sew the insert in. And as I said before, the inside paper for this one is 9.5 by 6 1/4. Sorry, that's the outside cover. It's 9 1/4 by 6, so we go 1/4 down from our cover. And I've done 3 pages, which gives you 6 pages or 12 journaling. You can put more in, of course, because the tag will, because we put that little bit of a spine in it, it will take some more. So if you're gonna think you're going to be doing a lot of journaling, might trim that off a bit and corner around these pages, because we've corner rounded the cover. So like we did with the other one, line it up so you've got a, pages are even, and you've got an even border top and bottom. Then using a bulldog clip to keep them in place. You only have to do one side. Then we get our awl and we go through, or pokey tool, and go through the middle. And then we go the middle of the page. And then once again, the middle distance between there and there. And then we get our waxed cotton and we go through the middle. Put our thumb on the tail. Through the top. Down through the middle. Up through the bottom. Make sure that they're secure. You can pull on both strings to do that. Tie it in a knot. And then cut it off. And that's that one done. Just a flatten the bulk a little bit more, I'll just use my bone scorer, bone folder. And now we want to have a look so where we're going to place our band. So you'll notice on this one I went a little bit up over halfway, and the reason I did that is because you've got your feature here. So if your thing goes in there and you had that down lower, it's going to clash with you know, your outside tab's going to clash, and we don't want that. We want to feature it. So I would go probably 2/3 of the way up like that. So we will put some glue on that. So we're going to glue front and back, not right to the edge. Lovely. So now we want to get some ribbon. So your choice of what you want to use to tie it, whether it's sari silk, lace, ribbon. I'm actually going to use some seam binding. Now the only seam binding I have is this cream, or I had this bright aqua colour. So I thought I'll go with the cream. But just for something different, I didn't want it just plain, so I decided I was going to do some stamping on it. So just using the same stamps that you have out, that you did your cover. Just some stamping along. Randomly. We're going to stamp some other stamps on it as well. However much you think you'll need. You might even just want to do it in script or something like that. Just to give it a little bit of contrast. It will smudge and fade a little bit, but it's just to make it just something a little bit different, I guess. Now I've only guessed the length there of what we'll need, but if we need more, we can certainly stamp more. That's not a problem. So we just want enough to tie. Actually, let's not guess it. Let's go in and tie it. That's that one, and then this one. And then we may have enough to do the tag on the top. Which we do, and you can snip it off to, you know, whatever length suits you on that one. I'm not going to snip that off just yet. I will retie that just to even it up off camera. But there you go, guys. So beautiful journal tag pocket. We've got heaps of journaling places in that one. We've got your journal on the front, your journal tucked into the tuck. You've got a tuck there, a tuck in the front journal that you can put some more coffee dyed paper in. If you wanted to as well, you could put either a belly band or a tuck spot on the back to tuck more in. But absolutely beautiful project. You could add some labels down here or some stamping. I actually like it plain because I'm featuring the tag endings. But absolutely fun project. Give it a go. I hope you've enjoyed it today and it's inspired you to drag out your cardstock and have a go at something a little bit different. Try stamping on your seam binding as well. That's a little bit fun. And yeah, guys, I really enjoyed spending this time with you today, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Thanks, guys. Bye.